Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. What a day it's been. It seems blackouts are going to be more probable than we were originally advised in the last winter outlook. I took notes because what was announced today is pretty huge, and looking at what the National Grid have said is one thing, but then there's also the secondary part of the National Grid which does the gas. And although both of them said, oh, this is the worst case scenario and it could be, rolling 3-hour blackouts, Catherine Porter, who is an analyst at Watt Logic, says the National Grid assessment looked unreasonably optimistic. There was also a note that France, who normally exports in the winter, so France normally sends electricity out. Because of the problems it's had with its nuclear power stations, it's going to be looking to import this time during winter. Now, we normally get quite a bit of gas, electricity or whatever from France. Most of ours, I think it's 40%. Where is it? More than 40% of the UK power generation comes from gas. So a lot of your electric is provided by gas-powered electricity stations. So we know that we import from Norway, we import from France. Now, the EU and Norway have just come to an agreement and said they would work together to stabilise energy markets and limit the impact of market manipulation and price volatility. So Norway's already said it's helping the EU. I wonder if we've got an agreement in place, because if we don't, we're going to be second to Norway for being able to import. And Norway has already said that their water levels, most of their electricity or gas, whatever, comes from water, it comes from hydropower. Their water levels are very low, so they might not be able to export as much as they did before. There's also the fact of, just going back to where France exported normally in the winter and they're going to be looking to import. The EU countries have now formally agreed to a voluntary 10% cut in gross electrical consumption and a mandatory reduction of 5% during peak hours. So the EU have come to an agreement. They're going to cut their electrical consumption voluntarily by 10%, but definitely mandatory by 5% in peak hours. Now, obviously, we're no longer part of the EU, but we're looking to import power from them or gas from them, energy in some way, shape or form. And we're not part of them anymore. And they've got an agreement with Norway. So personally, I don't think it's going to be quite as easy for us to get the energy that we're looking for this winter. One of the things they said is that they're going to look to the States and Qatar for the liquefied natural gas that comes over in tankers. I could be wrong here, I'm not honestly sure, but Qatar, is that not where OPEC is? Is that not where they've already said they're going to cut the barrels of oil production to keep the prices up? So basically, yes, I am not confident at all, in the least, at the ability of the British government to keep the power on, to keep the lights on this winter. So I am going to be making an emergency basket. And in that basket is going to be that if my power goes out unexpectedly, because they are saying that they'll do 3-hour rolling blackouts and you're going to know when they are. So, you can get your flasks filled, you can get your dinner sorted if you need to, you can, prepare yourself for 3 hours without power. But what if it goes out unexpectedly? What if there's storms and it brings down power lines? What if the UK government can't import the gas or electricity that it needs from Europe or the States or Qatar? I think 3-hour rolling blackouts are going to be the best option. So I am going to make myself an emergency basket. And in it there will be things like candles, torches, my radio, my wind-up lamp. There will be some snackies that can be done with just boiling water. You know, things like your ramen noodles, your super noodles, anything else that I can think of. There will be stuff that can be heated up on my either the wood burner or the Calor gas heater. Anything like that. There will obviously be chocolate and crisps and stuff. So it'll be a wee emergency bag, because what I want to do is I want to make sure that if my power goes off unexpectedly, I do not have to panic. I do not have to worry. Because I know that for at least 8, 12, 24 hours, I don't need to move, I don't need to do anything, because I am sorted and it's all in this one basket and it's all going to be there. So it'll have like basket is going to be in the bottom, blankie's going to be in the bottom, and then we'll have like the torch, some tea lights, a couple of lighters, and then we'll have the munchies just in case, and I'll probably take the little teeny weeny pot that I've got that's really thin so that it can heat water up in the stove if I need to. Anything like that that is going to give me time. And I know it sounds stupid, but time to sit, make myself a cup of tea, get out my notepad and pen and work out what I'm doing. Put the radio on, listen to the news, find out what's happening, find out how long it's expected to go on. Because here, up in rural areas, which doesn't particularly affect London and big cities as much because all your power lines are underground, in more rural areas, we can have a tree down on the wires and we can be weeks before the power's back on, because if the storm's big enough to do that, believe you me, those linesmen are going to be busting their asses trying to get these wires back on, and they just can't do all of them immediately. You know, they have to sleep. They're very good at what they do, so we have to give them credit where it's due. So you need to be able to keep yourself calm, keep yourself looked after for a goodly while. That gives you time, as I say, to listen to the news, work out what you're doing. If you can phone people, if you've still got a landline that works, then phone people, check if someone's coming to you or if you need to go to someone. Just find out what's happening. So that is my video for this evening. I genuinely think the blackouts are going to be worse than they're saying. I don't think we are going to be top of the priority lists for buying power, oil, gas, anything. I think, as I say, there's already an agreement with Norway and EU, and Norway was one of our biggest suppliers. So, yeah, a power out basket, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I think that would possibly be a good idea for others to do, just to give yourself some breathing space so that if it happens, you're not panicking and you've got time to get yourself sorted out. So I am now going to go and write my wee list for my power out basket, and I will catch you later.